you, but if we haven't met, my name's Byron, and this is Carla, and we had a crazy idea. It started in about 1993 or 94, and we actually founded Legacy Family Ministries in 1995. We had the idea coming out of youth ministry and student ministry. The students that grabbed a hold of the principles of the faith were those who had either a single mom, single dad, or a married couple that was investing into the relationships of their kids. And so we had the idea, boy, wouldn't it be great if we could get a hold of the family institution, and the family could then, with a mom and a dad, together disciple the next generation. I think if I went into Baylor's chapel or UMHB's chapel and I asked how many of you came to faith through your family, probably 80 or 90% of the hands would go up. If I followed that up with a second question of how many of you have been discipled by your family, probably only about 25 or 30% of those hands would go up. We really do believe the family institution is a bedrock to helping the next generation understand the principles of the faith. There's no greater way for the family to do that than for you to have a successful marriage. Your marriage matters. It matters to your family. It matters to your kids. Those of you who have kids at home, it matters to your grandkids. It matters to your neighbors. It matters to this community. And so we've got folks here that are all the way from Dallas all the way down to Round Rock, South Austin. And so thank you. It's not lost on us that you would give up a weekend to be here. I will have to tell you, Carla and I had a pretty discouraging 2 days. You don't know what it's like when you're putting on a conference and the phone rings, or you get a text, or you get an email, and sorry, we've got COVID. 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 And you kind of wonder, oh man, what in the world? So it's not lost on us that you would be here. So thank you. And our prayer, we're praying a prayer of protection over each of you that you don't get COVID. And so thank you for spreading out and being just responsible. And I think that's the way that we can work through this deal, is to be responsible. I want to also lastly say that it's not lost on Carla and I that all of you want to invest into your marriage. And so for the next 2 days, we've brought our friend Deborah Fileta. She was supposed to be here last year for our sex talks, and her husband studied those talks way too much, and she was, if you remember, she was 9 months pregnant, and she came to us via video, and she literally had her little boy 12 days after the conference. So that's why she was with us video. This year she's here live, and her husband John are delightful, and they're just some great folks. So we're excited for you to get to hear them. And then also tomorrow, you're going to get to hear from Cindy Janeka. Cindy and Daryl are servants of every nonprofit in this, especially in this church. They're just servants, and they're behind-the-scenes folks. But Cindy and Daryl helped co-found Legacy Family Ministries in 1995, and you'll get to hear from her as well. But thank you for being here, and I want you to know this. We know that your marriage matters because it matters to us, and you encourage us, and we appreciate you coming alongside of us.
And as Byron said, most of our work is with engaged couples, and we love, with all of our heart, we have loved the 27 plus years that we've been able to have with engaged couples. And at the end, we take them through a 6-week class, and at the end of the class, we give them this little gift, and we hope that it hangs on their wall or in their closet, somewhere where they can see it every day. And what we want it to be is a reminder of what they've just been through and what they're walking into, the new requirements that marriage and blessings and privileges and joys and all the things that marriage gives to them. And what this says is from Matthew 19:6. And it says they are no longer two, but one. And Jesus is telling this to the Pharisees when they ask him, is it lawful to divorce? And he's saying they are no longer two, but one. And we want our engaged couples to know, and we want you all to know that your marriage does matter, and it's no longer I and me, but it's we and it's us. And the rest of that verse goes on to say, and they are no longer two but one, but what God has joined together, let no one separate. And the beautiful thing about it that we all know as married couples is God has joined your marriage together. And as we sang about who he is the one that created it. He's the one that sustains it. He's the one that will keep it all together and will make it thrive. He knows best how to make it thrive. And so we encourage our couples, our engaged couples, you don't even understand. Life is going to come hard at you and things are going to try to separate you. But you fight. You fight. And some of you in the room are fighting right now to stay connected, to stay in it. And we want to just say, I hope this weekend is encouragement to you because no one can separate it. And you know, what we all know in the room that a lot of times our engaged couples don't know yet is that marriage, like no other relationship, exposes your heart and it demands your growth. And we all know that. And it can be the littlest things. It can be household chores. It can be things like raking the leaves, like it was for us when we were first married, and even now we can kind of get into it because I came from Louisiana.
Wait.
We rake the leaves.
We ain't ever raked leaves.
Yes, we do.
We should rake the leaves means me needs to go rake the leaves.
I grew up in a little town called Greensburg in Louisiana, and we had tall trees in our yard. I had great memories of going out and raking leaves, and my dad would pile them up, and then we'd all go jump in them, and then we'd rake them up again, and then he would light his cigar, and he would burn the leaves, and it was super fun. And I have really good memories of that.
Hey, and I came from West Texas, where if you had leaves in your yard, that's like a status symbol, because that means you have a tree. And the only thing that sounded fun to me when Carla would describe these fun memories was smoking the cigar and then lighting the leaves on fire.
Yeah, so talk about exposing your heart and demanding your growth.
We get into some serious fights over leaves.
Y'all, really. And I think that is really the thing of marriage is we come as two different people from two different places, personalities, gender differences, all the things, and we're asked to no longer be two but one, and we're asked to unite and to serve each other. And I don't know about you, but I tend to operate in default mode half the time out of pride and selfishness instead of out of the beautiful design of service and submission to one another. And that's why it's so good to come here and to remind ourselves and to equip ourselves and to know that God is for you and what God has joined together, let no one separate.
I also love the fact that Paul quotes Jesus in Ephesians 5, but Jesus is quoting Genesis 2 in the passage that Carla referenced. And I think we go through life, and sometimes it is the little rocks in our shoe, the dailiness that just grinds on us, and it's hard and it's difficult, but yet marriage is so rewarding. And your marriage matters because it's bigger than you, and the why is greater than you. And so Paul is being used by God in Ephesians 5 to say, for this reason, for this cause, this substitutionary relationship of husband and wife is really not about like what our engaged couples think it's about them. They think it's about their engagement and their showers and their wedding day. And it's not about that. It's about this. And Paul goes on to say it's about this because it's about Christ and the church. And every marriage matters, especially Christ-centered marriages. And those Christ-centered marriages matter because you, each one of you, get to be a representative of the gospel of Christ loving the church. And some of your neighbors, some of your kids, some of your kids' kids, and your kids' kids' kids will know Christ because of you. And it's not saying you have to have a perfect marriage. It's saying you have to have the right understanding of marriage to allow God to do a powerful work in and through you so that then you unleash the Spirit of God in your life. And when it comes together, you're able to show that for this cause is about the cause of the kingdom. And that's why Christian marriages really matter, because it pushes back the darkness.
And it matters too because you're passing on a legacy to your kids. And the great way that you can bless your kids and the greatest way you can hand your faith to your kids is by giving them an honoring Christ-centered marriage. And so thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being here this weekend and for investing in your marriage, because it really does matter.